Forbes India, CNBC-TV18 present India Inc. on the Move. Smart Manufacturing, powered by Rockwell Automation.
Forbes and CNBC-TV18 present India Inc. on the Move. A smart manufacturing summit powered by Rockwell Automation. A one-of-a-kind event featuring dynamic discussions with industry experts and the sharpest minds to tap into exclusive insights. The first session discussed smart manufacturing, driving India's growth.
Fundamentally, if you look at what is smart manufacturing means that we have to optimally use all our resources, and then at the same time we have to see it from the customer point of view, that what the customer needs are and how can we give him the best product, best service and best timeliness and best cost. Now those things have to get incorporated into the manufacturing scene. Then of course you have to start with the safety practices, you have to start with quality, and you have to start with people, you have to start with all your other operations. So basically everything. These days of course there are various tools, and the best is to have these IoTs and artificial intelligence, and that if you don't use all these new methods, you can't become smart. So I think fundamentally the need is from the customers, and it will also, as you mentioned, for export readiness. If you have to export your products, if you have to become large in the country, if we have to become $5 trillion economy, I think this smart manufacturing is very, very important.
So in pharma sector, the important thing is that how do we ensure high quality, and as a patient, as a customer, people should be assured of the right quality of the drugs. And that is where traceability of the product is extremely important. If I, as a patient, as a customer, would like to buy a costly medicine, I should know that it is authentic and there is no counterfeit there. And that is where serialization and traceability helps. But the other dimension where smart manufacturing plays a big role is the ability to have production and increase in volume based on the needs of the market, which keeps fluctuating. And with the limited resources which we would be having, how do we make that happen?
I think it's been interesting to watch the journey. Industry 4.0 has been a term used for 10 years now, and I would say the initial focus and adoption was more in countries in Europe and in North America. But the last 5 to 6 years, the key acceleration we've seen is actually centered in this part of the world, in particular India. And if you look at the World Economic Forum, they sponsor lighthouse sites. So they showcase examples of best practice manufacturing. The latest wave of lighthouse sites are all being built in India. And they're setting an example for the rest of the world into how to be more innovative, more economical, drive quality. And a lot of the global MNC companies are building their best case example in India. And I think that's epitomizes the capability in India in the engineering skills, in the digitization skills, in the information solution skills. I think the world's been benefiting from India's competence, but it's been outsourced. Now it's being used locally to drive both the multinationals and local Indian companies that next step change in smart manufacturing. So I think India is incredibly well placed because you have the right infrastructure in people that can drive that smart manufacturing, innovation and step change.
After an insightful discussion, it was time for the keynote address, delivered by Shri Arun Goyal, Secretary, Ministry of Heavy Industries, Government of India.
The smart manufacturing may mean many things to many persons. So in common parlance, we have been saying Industry 4.0 as smart manufacturing. Now, Industry 4.0 in loose parlance is nothing but IT enabled. We have, over the last 25 years or so, established a very strong footing in IT. And on the manufacturing side, over the last 4 decades, we have reached a tipping point. We must have the best quality manufacturing in our country, which meets the best standards globally. Then, because we are a huge market, obviously the cost of production in our country would be competitive for the global market. And that's how, with the domestic demand being met, the supply will be there, where we'll be able to export at competitive prices, because you can't export if your product is not of that level. So we are nudging the industry from that angle in a positive manner on the asking of the industry. And now I'm very hopeful that these kind of gatherings, the interaction, India Inc. is actually on the move. We are for the smart manufacturing, and there is no reason why you people shall not achieve India to be advanced, developed economy by 2047.
The next panel discussion was focused on the theme of leveraging data for connected enterprise.
One big change which has happened to our industry has been, the industry always known to be a very rigid and firm plan for a quarter and firm plan for the months together and all, and then produce according to that, to a much more agile and flexible industry to work on. And based on the current availability of components or market demand, how agile you can be to really support our customers. So that has been a fundamental shift in last couple of years on the whole industry dynamics. Now, in that regard, I think digitalization has become a major platform to able to get that agility for the whole organization to be there. Now, how do you connect to your customer and get your demand inside your production shop floor? Create that transparency, create that agility. It has been a fundamental change which has happened in the industry to that. Now, in order to do that, I think you need a very strong digital program in the company to drive that change in the company, which right from the board level to the everybody on the ground work together to really build that up and all.
On the one hand, business models are changing by the month, literally. On the other hand, as consumers, we are becoming much more demanding in terms of all the auto variants, and what all gadgetry we like to see inside of that and so forth. So the consumer choices, we want everything to be personalized and all of that. We want things delivered in a very different manner, right? At the same time, upstreams and supply chain, there is a massively different level of uncertainty that exists. And these are non-trivial challenges for manufacturers. If you have to overcome all of these uncertainties and still come out on tops and still make manufacturing lead the Indian economy and become a $1 trillion sector, right? You cannot do it just by practicing manufacturing the way it was done. You've got to really be utilizing the contemporary approaches that the digital technologies are affording to us, right? What are the uses of powerful new paradigms like data analytics, digital twins, digital thread? Can they give you a way to overcome some or all of these challenges?
We notice that the large part of our consumers are definitely interested. They want to have their own ways. They are more interested in sustainability and health, and they want to have customized production and customized product for them. Now, coming back to digitalization, Nestle has embarked in a digitalization journey, and it's a journey of transformation. So that, coming to your point, we have to keep on transforming as we progress. It has to be business-led and consumer-centric. Globally, Nestle, we talk to over 200,000 consumers a week. And we manage almost like over 500,000 feedback a month. And we have millions and millions of consumer interactions that are coming. These are a huge quantity of data that, if used properly, use the right tool, use the right data analytics. This can help us from the consumer insight point of view. It's a wealth that you cannot imagine. Not only to understand the expectations of the consumers, but also maybe sometimes to exceed the expectations, detect new trend, and also think of new innovations and renovations and see where the consumer wants to go. What are the interests of the consumer?
We are an organization which has 16 manufacturing units geographically distributed all across the country and more than 50 project sites, 3 engineering centers. And there's a tremendous amount of data that gets generated that needs to be secure. For us to deliver a project on ground for which the activities start at various manufacturing units, and the activities would start probably with the engineering part, then the procurement, then the manufacturing, dispatch, finally the erection, commissioning, testing at site. The system that has been put in place over the past 10 years or so, and which has become pretty mature, there is a lot of interplay of the systems talking to each other, the applications talking to each other, and the data which flows from one point to another. Taking all of this onto cloud is, first of all, going to be a huge transaction. The transaction cost itself is tremendous. The second part is the cost that has already been subsumed in this process, and what it is going to cost, what is the advantage that is brought to us in case.
India Inc. on the Move, a smart manufacturing summit powered by Rockwell Automation. The day saw various sessions with dialogues on smarter, efficient, more responsive and sustainable future for manufacturing. The next session was a fireside chat discussing the future of semiconductor manufacturing in the new world order.
Today in India, we consume about 180 to 200 billion dollar worth of electronics consumption, right? Out of that, basically about $25 billion are basically semiconductors which get consumed in India, right? And today, almost manufacturing is almost zero. Even the semiconductor products which use the manufacturing facility is also very minuscule in the nature, right? So if India has to basically realize its potential, $1 trillion digital economy is not going to happen without electronics and semiconductors, right? I think those are the two essential drivers for basically future economy. Demand is very high. We have one of the world's largest market. Now we have to put all of this together to build the products and manufacture them as well. I think India today is offering the best of the incentive under the PLI policy. So 50% capex incentives for basically different kind of the fabs, semiconductor fabs, display fabs, compound semiconductor fabs, and basically many variants of this thing. One thing to make the semiconductor dream a reality, we need to build much more electronics products out of India, right? If we really need to create a long-term sustainability, we need to increase the market share of an Indian electronics product in this sphere.
After that thought-provoking interaction, it was time for the next discussion. IT-OT convergence, managing cybersecurity risks.
I feel vulnerabilities have not increased, their exploitation has increased. They were always there. Okay. But we need to be very careful because now we are connecting OT with IT. So risk is increasing manifold because the cyber criminals are looking at ways to exploit you to make money. Their intention is majorly to make money, but otherwise also, you might have read a report that in the coming times, these threats would be so much robust that they can become almost weaponized. Sure. They can do a harm to a human life also. So we have to start pondering what to do and just not go with the flow, but be very, I won't say conservative, but be very careful while taking the next step, evaluate all the risks and take a very concerted effort towards mitigating them, only then implement. Though productivity increase is the prime objective, but to be safe is equally important.
See, any new technology, and for that matter, digital, also brings opportunities and challenges together. Okay, so it is our duty that we move ahead with the opportunities and take care of the challenges also. Similarly, digital has brought a lot of opportunities for the manufacturing sector, but it has also brought the challenges also. Challenges in terms of connecting the OT and IT network. Okay, today, earlier, in fact, around 10 years back, the OT IT networks were air-gapped. They were not talking to each other. But now with cloud coming in, with digital coming in, so we have a lot of opportunities where we can leverage the new age technologies to take benefit of that. But for that, we have to integrate the OT and IT networks. Our duty is to protect our the assets or information going out. So it is very important that we have mitigation strategies in place to take care of these challenges, especially on the information security.
I think that now manufacturing has really, waken up to cybersecurity. That is a very good thing which has happened, because, they really see that there is a lot of cyber attacks happening, especially on manufacturing. Last year to this year, we see a 300% increase where cyber attacks are concerned. So yeah, so you can say that yes, everybody is really, ready and geared up. See, before understanding OT and IT convergence, we need to understand that, from where it starts. Now, IT, when we were securing, the first thing is this confidentiality. Then comes the integrity and then the availability. That was the, the triage which we were following, that this is how you need to maintain your cybersecurity posture. Now with OT, what happens? It is reversed. Now with OT, the availability is the top priority, right? Because if my boiler or my robot goes down, I have a huge production loss. So that is the change. So these two together need to, now work together and take IT and OT hand in hand. You can't say that they both are separate.
If we always trust that we have experience and people who has a lot of specialization in different IT profiles, different IT strategies. The same for the OT. The OT people we have really impressive engineers, industrial engineers, electrical. Why are we not going to have a cyber OT approach? Because right now is what we need. I've seen a lot of organizations in my experience that try to achieve the same protocols, the same way to monitor the networks, the same things in the same team. So why we cannot bring together people who can understand what is a proprietary protocol or what was not secure, So we need to put all the efforts into bridge that OT-centric approach that I'm not saying that we need to isolate that. We need to work together. But we need to have different profiles in each expertise, because that it's only going to bring benefits to that.
Cloud has the potential to transform businesses, and that was the topic of the next panel discussion, Raising Your Manufacturing Game with the Cloud.
Everything goes on data. We talk about data. But what's a problem is there is requirement of security with that. We don't have strict laws in this country right now. And, all of our personal data is out there. Whether it is going to be, we talk about autonomous vehicles, we're talking about cloud, we're putting the data on the cloud. We have, all sorts of information. And I think in the automotive sector, everybody loves this new technology, but is there security to it? So I think that is something that really needs to be looked at. I'm sure with cloud computing, this is something that can be worked on. We need to upskill, skill, retrain workers. And I think that is something that is very important. And I think cloud and all of this is helping, and we need to keep working on that.
I think in 2022, in manufacturing, speed, its culture, and strategy and execution for morning snack. Okay, so speed is crucial. And cloud can bring speed and agility. I think there is going to be a swift move of operational applications to the cloud for a number of very strong reasons. It gives a lot of agility, better visibility, and the ability to innovate and iterate faster. A couple of the concepts, the industrial metaverse, it's about creating immersive virtual experiences where people can collaborate with each other and they can interact with the equipment, a digital representation of the equipment that is connected live to the shop floor, to the factory. That's one way. The other way that industrial metaverse can change the game is providing a simulated environment. This is a safe environment for people to optimize the equipment without really tinkering with the running plant. And then when they figure out what are the things that they want to do with the model that turn out to be good ideas, then they can roll those into production, into the physical world.
Recently, before 4 or 5 years, we have put up our plant, state-of-the-art plant in the UK. In the cloud, I think we have done a lot of the work in the supply chain also. We have done a lot of the work in the automation also. And we will be able to run the plant by remote access. We can do the installation and commissioning of the plant by remote access. And we, at present, we are doing production planning tool. We are taking the dispatch planning tool. We are also operating this warehouse management. We are also operating many tools so that we can see our visibility of the product, batch number and inventory management, and also aging of the stock remotely and virtually. Currently, we don't have the server, all the operation on the cloud. If you take the production cloud, so I can see my production right now from my mobile. Which factory is making the production, which factory is under breakdown, what is the region of the breakdown, and how many workers in the factory are working, what is the cost of the operation I can get tomorrow on my mobile. The manufacturing facility also connected with the cloud. Our depot also connected to the cloud. Our distributors, we have, I think, 5,000 distributors. They are also connected to the cloud. And our 5 to 6 million retailers are connected to the cloud.
The event culminated with a comprehensive view on how to implement Industry 4.0, embrace smart manufacturing, and start implementing new emerging technologies to compete in the global marketplace. And with that, it was time for the closing remarks of the summit.
Our focus was, of the day was creating a smart manufacturing ecosystem to drive India's growth story. And for this to happen, to have Atmanirbhar Bharat, smart manufacturing is the only way forward. Smart manufacturing is about the whole connected ecosystem. It needs to address quality, productivity, security, safety, resilience, leveraging cloud. It has to be business-led and be customer-centric. It is enabled by technology and people, but it's driven by the boardroom commitment, mindset, and culture.
Forbes India, CNBC-TV18 present India Inc. on the Move. Smart manufacturing, powered by Rockwell Automation.